Hey everybody, this is Informed and Confused. I'm Alan.
And I'm Nick.
And today we are back with more of Star Trek Discovery.
And it's an important time, too, because we're finally going to get you to the Discovery.
Yep.
Like, as much as, I'm supposed to shut up and not say anything about what's coming, and I feel I'm halfway violating it with this conversation, but, like, I am so excited to be out of the intro and into the meat and potatoes now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that was an obvious thing of, the show's called Star Trek Discovery. We start on a ship that is not the Discovery.
The Senjal.
Yeah, the Senjal. So,
I'm sure I'm saying it super wrong in American, but I'm confidently doing it. Yeah. That's the important part, right?
Confidence. Yep.
When you're an American, that's all that counts, right?
Yep. Yeah. I was going to say, what's his name? The Swedish guy.
Swedish guy.
Who rescued the Jewish people in World War II.
Oh, Raoul.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mr. Wallenberg.
Did 90% of that through just being the most confident, deliberate guy in the room.
Yeah, never underestimate the superpower that is being a tall, good-looking white man. Never underestimate that superpower.
The weirdest combination of the Swedish chef Muppet rescuing Nazis.
We are now making that version. Oh my god, I know what our project for the summer is.
Oh, God.
Raoul's List.
Oh, God.
Subtitle?
What did I start?
Eat this, Schindler.
What the hell did I start? Okay.
A podcast, and then it spiraled into this. Well, no, technically I started the podcast,
started
but it
the
spiraled
podcast.
into this.
Yes. So, last we left off, Michael done got thrown in jail.
Yeah, according to the lore of the series, she is Starfleet's first mutineer. Yeah, I have no idea of like expanded Trek lore to like be able to argue that point, but it kind of makes sense in a really weird, goofy way.
Chronologically, you mean?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, at this point in time, she is Starfleet's first mutineer.
There's only one other mutiny I can immediately think of, and it's a TNG thing. So that does track.
Yeah.
That does track.
Khan wasn't a mutiny.
I know. Yeah. It was his own army.
Actually, basically just exiled war criminal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Superman.
What if Napoleon had superpowers, basically? That is how I have always viewed Suliban Khan. What if Napoleon had
Suliban
superpowers?
Khan? What do you mean?
Isn't that his name?
No, Suliban is another race.
I thought that was his first name.
No, Khan Noonien Soon.
I'm fucking stupid.
Wait, Soon as in the guy that made Data?
No.
That Noonien Soon?
That's Noonien Soon. Khan Noonien Singh. Excuse me.
Gotcha.
Khan Noonien Singh. Excuse me.
See, this is why the occasional
Crossing
lore reboot isn't the worst idea.
And this is why we're confused.
Yeah, no,
Because nerds who have trouble keeping track of one continuity need multiple.
yes. No, that way we get specialists so that I can do things like go into Gundam trivia and just school the fuckers putting it on the trivia. Oh, I'm sorry you didn't read Mobile Suit Variants. That's not my problem.
Yeah.
Oh, I am so excited. I know I already said that Saru is my favorite, and that is not changing. I love that big bastard. But, like, the supporting cast of Discovery is so great. Oh, Tilly. I am so ready for this.
All right. Well, then let's go to it.
Tell them we have engaged the Klingons.
How did the Vulcans achieve diplomatic relations
Correction.
with the
You
Klingons?
engaged the
Starfleet
Klingon
doesn't fire first.
substitutes.
We have to. Stand down, Commander.
You know,
The Klingons were not available for filming at that time, so they had to get.
so
a
you're
stunt
telling me this is the Trek equivalent of a spaghetti western?
I'm trying to save all of you.
Captain,
Go with that.
detected.
Is it Starfleet?
No.
No, this is the equivalent of the guy who originally stood in for Jabba the Hutt in A New Hope. That's what this is.
I really feel bad for that dude because he got cast. It was like a decent part for the overarching like film, and just nope. Oh god, I love this intro.
6 months later.
It's stupid and short, but I love it.
Why we're getting
I love when cons talk amongst themselves. It's a weird film trope I love.
Get to be mine. That kind of talk got your shiny little panties in a bunch.
You ever think about porn in the Star Trek universe?
What are you in for anyway? Staying out past curfew?
Yes.
You don't know who that is?
I'm saying no more than that.
That's my
Hey,
Panfar came early this time.
Hey, porn is an essential part of Star Trek. Vulcan Love Slave is still a classic.
Nope, it's
Vulcan
definitely
Love Slave.
Vulcan.
Oh, Vulcan Love Slave.
No, those are
Orion.
the Orion slave girls.
That's what I said. Goes no. Vulcan Love Slave is a hollow program that Quark peddles on his holospace.
GS-54.
Very popular.
They'll drain us of all of our power.
Have Minax crossed
Oh,
over?
wait for it.
Our oxygen runs out. Or we freeze to
It
death.
just gets better.
The pilot's taking care of it.
Warning. Safety.
In traditional Starfleet fashion, no less. No, I love this sequence. It's short and stupid, but like, yes. If you're gonna manufacture stakes, this is how you do it. Like everyone else losing their shit because they feel immediate death, your main character still ice cold. The Discovery, ladies and gentlemen. You ever just watch shit porn mashups online where like they just take the reveal shots from various sci-fi franchises and cut them together?
The panning shots.
You need the ship porn. And right there,
Yeah.
that's the centerfold. That is the, love to get at her ample nacelles. That is, to quote the finest Starfleet engineer to ever live.
According to Lower Decks, the finest engineer to ever live would be Miles O'Brien.
Well, they're wrong. Miles is a great man, don't get me wrong. Arguably the best Irishman in Starfleet.
Hey, people from the future said this. People from the future are never wrong.
Hey. Is he the best Irishman in Starfleet? Without a fucking doubt. But he's Irish, which means he can only be the third best at anything else. We didn't write the rules, the British did, and for some reason we're still following them. I will never understand it.
My name's Commander Landry. I'm chief of security.
You know, if it weren't for the
here.
collars on those uniforms, they would really be fucking
See, we're
perfect.
unloading all kinds of garbage.
You know what the one dumb thing I miss from the older series?
Silver shirts.
The security force was always in fucking football pads.
Oh God.
They were always in like turn of the century football leathers.
Oh, that was not a creative choice I was fond of.
Here they all just walk around with rifles. Little different. Sorry, type 3 phasers isn't what those would be?
No, that's a Type 3. The rifles are a Type 3.
Kayla.
Yeah. I don't know if you recall, she served on the Senjao with her.
Oh, no, I didn't.
Yeah, she didn't have the plate in her skull back in those days.
Ah.
Battle of the Binary Stars did a number on everybody. See, the fact that he didn't, like, take it off and rest it on the table or something, like, nope, still just gotta be strapped while I'm in the mess.
That is the Type 2 phaser.
Yeah, well, to my understanding, the Type 1s are designed to be, like, lightweight, mildly concealable. They're like the equivalent of, like,
They're
a pocket pistol.
Yeah, they're like pocket
yeah.
pistols, yeah.
Vulcan Mark
I don't remember them having them in TOS.
I don't think they did.
It was only in Next Gen. When they
Yeah, no,
introduced the
I
Type
think that
1s.
was introduced in Next Gen. I think
Yeah.
that's like a Picard thing. I mean, not that Picard was really known for shooting at fucks, but era. Oh, yeah, no, Riker was definitely a good shot.
Don't be shy.
Fortune cookies.
How are those not just fucking stale? At sugar paste in an open top bowl, how are those not stale as fuck?
Question is, what am I gonna do with you?
If Clint Eastwood was in
I'll
Starfleet.
put you in the brig. Someone's gonna die, and I don't have the time for that kind of distraction.
I will say, there is a possible spoiler I know about this guy.
You have training in high-level quantum physics.
Do you want me to confirm, deny, play
Well, I
coy?
don't want you to say. I'm not even gonna say what I think what it is. Just be aware that that is a thing.
Excuse me.
No,
Because
thank
remember,
you.
originally I was never gonna watch this show, so I didn't try to hide from.
And it'd be best.
Oh, I think there's still going to be plenty of out of nowhere moments for you. Like
Yeah.
this show is really well written. I mean, case in point, this dialogue here, like how many times have we had a confrontation between a new crewman and a captain, and it just feels stale?
There's no free ride
This
on my ship.
feels much
You
more
are a
alive.
Starfleet officer. Send
Like,
everyone
he strikes
home.
me as like the old cowboy
back.
stereotype, like a Clint Eastwood or a John Wayne.
Dismissed?
Much less John Wayne. John Wayne's a little too clean to be Lorca, but
If anything, I get
You're on day shift. Escorted
like,
at 0800
almost
hours.
like
When you're
a,
not working, you're confined to
Cisco,
quarters.
but
Working
more
on what?
restrained,
see, I legitimately get
colder.
I legitimately get the good, the bad, and the ugly vibes, or like fistful of dollars, Clint Eastwood from him, like straight up. You know, Proto Kirk honestly isn't a bad comparison, but I don't feel they've got anywhere near the same level of heart. Kirk is a singular beast in the Trek canon.
Yeah.
Tilly!
Hi, I'm Cadet Sylvia Tilly.
Yes, you are.
I talk when I'm nervous. My instructors advised me to work on that.
Blank alert. What's going on?
You weren't briefed?
No.
Well, then I can't tell you. Sorry.
Starfleet! Yeah, I mean, the mirror's just reverting to a liquid. It's fine. Don't worry about it. We didn't do something that undoes the laws of physics. It's fine. Saru's a good role model. After everything, he does not like Michael anymore, but he's still gonna treat her the same. Like, that's a good dude.
You are dangerous.
This is why I like him.
Captain Lorca is a man who does not fear the things normal people fear. But I do. And you are someone to fear, Michael Burnham.
Takes the long view, defends his position no matter the
wanna get back on that
odds.
shuttle, Commander.
Understands sometimes that means cutting out people you
I
respect
won't make
to
any
do the
trouble
right
for you
thing.
here.
Well, that is certain.
I have a tremendous amount of respect for someone who
If
can
you
see
try,
the world that way and act
know that
upon it.
I intend to do a better job protecting
That said,
my
writing.
captain than you did yours.
But that said, I do believe the guy under the prosthetics is the same guy who played Abraham Sapien in the Hellboy movies. So you know what?
Sounds like it.
Yeah, no, he can do no wrong as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Stamens.
Who are you?
I'm Michael Burnham.
Are you just gonna be thirsty about half the crew? For
Is
this
it
show?
my fault if half the crew is a fucking snack?
Assignments around here.
Is it my fault if they went out of their way to cast ludicrously hot people? Is this my fault?
Yes.
No, but it is your fault that you can't control yourself.
I was told to
Around
My
that.
pants are on. I'm controlling
There may be a
myself just fine.
misunderstanding.
on my part.
Yes. I'm not sure I'm following.
Aside from Stamens being my big
Lorca
gay
thinks you were
hero in
such
this
an
program,
asset.
no, he's actually just an awesome character.
Reconcile these two suites of code. Go somewhere else.
Yeah,
please.
what I find interesting is that they have
Not
him
like we
working
have
as an
science seats.
engineer, but his background is
not like we
much
have a
more like
science seats.
biology. Like,
Uh,
no, Stamens is an interesting character. I like how they play him.
It's a mistake.
And this is played a little by the book, but at the same time, I can fully understand Stamens being like, fuck you. You've been working on this project for an afternoon.
Lieutenant Paul Stamets.
No, something that I want to just call out Discovery like being better at than the other Treks I've seen. Like, you know how every Trek series likes to show the crew at the beginning being mildly disjointed or like only parts of the crew work together?
yeah.
Here they skip the dysfunction by just making it so obvious that they have to move past it. Just it's handled so differently, and I feel that this fresh take is better. Also, I'm just gonna toot my own horn for a second here. I didn't realize it would be as important to me as it is. I think it's partially because I didn't watch Voyager. The fact that, like, honestly, our main characters, the people we really follow, is all women, that's a very, very different perspective. Yes, there are men doing important things, but they're not who the camera's with. Not usually.
Lorca.
Pick a team.
Starting
Real
to see the
quick.
Clint Eastwood.
Take Burnham with you.
Not really.
Sir,
No.
it's one thing to make her a
Not
data
even
cruncher
close.
in
I
fact,
honestly don't see
but
what
to
you're
integrate
getting.
her into this project
He's
at
very
such a deep
curt.
level.
He's
I
very
understand
negative
that
in
you
his
want
interactions, even if they have a positive light. He's
He's
just
not grit-
growling at everything.
He's not
Understand?
gritty enough. He's not anywhere even
Sir.
remotely gritty.
Number one,
Well,
you
he's
said
not in a
we're putting
desert.
forth the Shenzhou. What is your assessment of her abilities?
Clint Eastwood is just gritty, inherently gritty as a human being. The man brings his own desert with him. This guy's got none of that.
She is.
I mean,
The smartest Starfleet.
You asked.
No. The strength of our friendship is that we disagree.
He knows you.
I have this character flaw. I care too much about what other people think about me. But you don't care if like everybody hates you.
Wording.
That's not wrong.
Uh,
I think that you could help me.
You're a nice kid, Tilly. I'm not staying long enough to make friends.
We're dropping out of warp.
the title of this show would seem to disagree with you on that.
Hey, for all you know, Michael dies.
I mean, time travel, parallel dimensions.
Transporter pattern buffer relay clones.
Yeah, any number.
Trek is
of-
just lousy with problems when you get down to it.
The numbers I've been analyzing have been consistent with organic structures.
I'm afraid your intentions are less than moon.
An angry optimist. A dreamer stuck in a real world. Do you see why I like him?
It's hard to judge why you like what you like. I've been trying to do it for years, and I haven't been able to find a definitive pattern yet.
Oh, there isn't a definitive pattern. It's case by case.
Every time I think I've got it locked down, you fuck with me.
It depends on the setting they're in. It depends on what the story calls for them to do. Stamets is a well-suited character for the story he's in and the task he has to perform. And that, to me, lends him to excellent writing. And on top of that, the actor playing him, serious fucking chops. The man's got range. Right now, we're just seeing him kind of annoyed and pissed off, which is a predominant trait of the character, but there's a lot more going on. Also, to this series' credit, they are so much more willing to show you the nasty shit that every other version of Trek was like, we're just gonna do a glancing wide shot.
Which would be one of the reasons why a lot of traditional Trek fans don't like it.
Like, I'd be ashamed of myself if I thought different
I mean,
meant bad.
I'm not one of those people. I'm perfectly fine with Trek going, PG-13 or even R-rated when appropriate. It makes the world seem more real to me.
Yeah, the reason everybody loves DS9, it's because it was a harder boiled, more realistic take than the rest of Trek was.
Well, it's the people who appreciate realism versus the Roddenberry Vision fanboys.
You know, that's just it, though. I'm not even opposed to the Roddenberry Vision. I just don't think it's...
Well,
Klingons.
the Roddenberry Vision is a non-existent thing. It's like idealized 1950s America. It never existed.
I'm aware. You know, you can see that all of them have lights on their harnesses, but they're all still using hand torches.
Oh, yeah, I thought it was a foot.
That was a foot and a shin. I do appreciate that they gave the jumpy one a handgun.
I can see some of the other reasons why people don't like this. Because it feels like we're moving into other sci-fi franchises. Yeah, Aliens. It feels like Aliens, and I can see how a lot of people would be like, "This ain't Star Trek."
And as usual, Ben's response to people dying, uproarious laughter. Hey, Klingon people die. You know, that's a question. Does fighting that thing count as dying in glorious battle? Does getting sucker punched by that thing count? Is he going to Sto-Bakor, or did he just get cheated by a sucker punch?
I think it counts as combat. At least when it's real Klingons, that would count. I'm pretty sure. I'm not letting this go. We're gonna get to season 4, and I'm still not gonna let this shit go. Ooh.
I'm sorry, my friend.
Jesus.
Yeah, proper body horror in Star Trek.
Log that is corrupted.
So there's some kind of navigational.
There's a mild Lovecraftian bend to this whole series.
Yeah, what you're getting,
like,
please.
not enough for me to say that, you know, it's a Lovecraft-inspired series, but, like, there's enough that when you look at it, you're like, huh, yeah, that's kind of a cosmic horror, fear of the unknown deal.
Well, we'll take it with us.
Gotta love that reasoning. No idea what happened. Let's just start taking shit.
That is classic Trek.
Burn through this in time.
Ooh, a thing. Demon aboard.
What are you doing? One Federation ship is pretty
Well,
much like
following
another.
the recipe of
I
classic
need a
Trek,
phaser.
that means we just found
Mutineers don't get
Chekhov's
phasers.
gun.
You won't kill it. I'm not trying to kill it, trying to piss it off.
I mean, not that Chekhov, different Chekhov.
I saw the open door. I deliberately chose not to walk through it.
That worked.
Should we say Chekhov's phaser, given what we're watching?
Go!
She superhero landed. Somebody in Star Trek just superhero landed.
Well,
we have now officially broken genre.
Are you telling me that wasn't the most logical way to board that craft?
No, absolutely not.
I disagree. They're in space, limited localized gravity. Those were combat boarding suits, so there's probably padding in the knees. She's probably fine.
Commander Ariam, it is a loss for Starfleet.
Still, Rotters run deep on Saru. I really love his character. Like, you need that wise, soulful member of the crew.
Well, there she is.
Captain.
Michael Burnham.
That is a triple on his desk.
That is a fucking triple, yes. Holy shit.
Sir, I've been
Don't worry about it. They gave me discretion.
I was gonna say, I find it weird. I recognize the sound before I noticed the triple.
That's not it.
I recognize the cooing.
Not all of it, anyway.
Why wouldn't you stay?
Let me answer your question
It's
with
so
a question.
adorable
Why
and
do
fluffy.
You want me to stay? I'm not here by accident.
Alan,
I think you brought
would
me
you have
here.
more respect for this
I
show
think
if
you've
they
been
decided to
testing
weaponize tribbles against the Klingons?
Why would I do that?
You're developing some kind of experimental technology.
That would be cool. That would be
Some kind of
interesting.
spore-based biological weapon.
If you'll be so kind.
Yes, get in the box that only opens from the outside with the creepy man who hangs out in a dark room all day. Eating fucking fortune cookies like a psychopath. I wasn't gonna bring up the fact that it looks like a gas chamber, but now that it's been brought up.
Harvested from the fungal species.
That looks suspiciously like the room that Spock died in.
Did you know that? Because you broke in.
I'm just saying, Vulcans behind glass walls tends to not go well for them.
That is true.
We're not creating a new way to kill. We are creating a new way to fly.
How do you travel on spores?
Imagine a microscopic web. that spans
Okay,
the
so this is
entire
spore
cosmos.
drive. I had heard of something
Intergalactic
called a spore
ecosystem.
drive. This is what this is.
Infinite number of
To my
roads.
understanding, some people really hate it.
The veins
I'm
and
on the
muscles that
fence
hold
about
our
it,
galaxies
personally.
together.
Now, if the discovery can
I don't think it's a bad
anywhere,
concept. I think it
gone
fits
in an
very
instant.
weirdly into Trek.
That's how you beat the Klingons. That's how you win the war.
You haven't seen what the
Hold
box
tight.
does yet. Honestly, the box is pretty awesome. I wouldn't mind using the box to smoke joints.
Blink, you're in the lottery. Blink, the moons of Andoria.
Just go and hot box on other
Miss
planets in a
Romulus.
limited dimensional
All those
pocket. Like,
planets, all those places, all those species, seen and yet to be
see,
seen.
my question is, if you smoke a joint in that box, can they smell the sticky icky on the planet you were
Like it
on?
never happened.
Or are you completely isolated from it within the network?
Universal laws for lackeys. Context is for kings.
That was the line that made it clear to me I will never be able to see eye to eye with this character.
What's the debate?
I can like him as a character, and I do like him as a character, but like,
What do you wish for?
if I was in Starfleet and I got assigned to serve under Lorca,
Maybe
well, we're gonna have a Klingon promotion here in a few days.
I mean, that was basically just a really eloquent way of saying the ends justify the means.
Yes, and you know I'm not a fan of those arguments. No, I think they do a very good job of examining the difference between a bad man and an evil man with the character of Lorca, because in no way, shape, or form do I believe Lorca is evil. He's not out for destruction for the sake of destruction. He's not. But he is not a good man.
I thought you were on
Did you think
prison
she had
shuttle.
that much hair?
I'm
Be
still
honest
here.
with me.
No,
It's
I
been
did
pinned
not.
up the whole episode.
I'm glad. Here's the
I will say my
thing
opinion of her
most
just
people
went up a
don't know
little.
about me.
Tilly.
I'm gonna be a captain someday. The thing is that there are
are still some things I need to learn. And I
Yeah,
know
don't drool
you
too
were
hard.
one of the
She's
most
married in
highly
real life.
regarded first officers in Starfleet, and I
And?
have read everything there is on Droid.
Bold.
Hey, it's not like I'd ever have an actual
Live
shot.
long and prosper, buddy.
Hey, it's not like I'd ever actually have a real shot anyway, so why let that stop the fantasy?
And just like that, I'm disappointed.
All right, that's... Oh,
And the
Oh, that's
USS
the one.
When is no more.
okay.
Well, they have to scuttle it. It's a
Yeah, yeah.
It's a destroyed advanced vessel in Klingon
Yeah.
space. They
Well,
cannot
no,
leave.
well, no, it was just a matter of I saw what looked like the Discovery
Sister
explosion.
ship. Sister ship. We're good.
Thoughts. Oh, Glenn. Okay, yeah.
And I think we will spend some time together.
It was either going to be that or a training exercise. It's okay. We're 3 episodes in. They can't blow the ship up yet.
Well,
We need at least 3 more
Well-
before a dry dock episode. You know the rules.
You know how many episodes of Next Generation the Enterprise got blown up in? All right. This has gotten a little more interesting.
Now it's starting to feel like Trek, isn't it? At least a little bit. The fact that you've got your
All right.
your main ship
It
now.
felt like Trek before. It's starting to move into DS9 type territory, which I like. I am part of the school of people who like Star Trek when it goes a little darker, when it deals with issues of even in that human paradise is always one.
There's always a worm in the apple.
Yeah. That take away. I agree with Quark. Take away human comforts, and your average human can become as vicious as the most bloodthirsty Klingon.
Oh, I agree with that.
Even in the 24th century.
As a member of the human species, oh man, Klingons at least have rules to how they fight. We just bash heads in with rocks for the fun
All
of
right,
it.
no. I am. Before I was curious, I was on board with trying it. Whatever. Now I'm engaged.
I'm so happy to hear that. You have no idea how happy I am to hear that. Because
Like-
I was legitimately worried that you would just shut down on this. Because I know how you are sometimes with various projects and medias where like it just doesn't speak to you and there is no translator available.
Yeah, no. Well, no. I mean, don't get me wrong. All the problems are still there. If they do, in fact, actually have actual full-blown replicators and not food dispensers like they did in the original series, then they're creating technology where it shouldn't be.
To me, it seemed
but-
like a replicator, but in Scenes in the Mess, you see them go up and you see them place orders, and then you magically just get a tray of your shit.
Does it materialize, or is it a little door opens up
They
and
don't
you pull
show-
the thing out?
They open a door, but I always just assumed that was a prior design where it's keep your hands out the fucking materialization field.
In the original series, if I remember correctly,
See, this is why it's important that you're part of this because
Yeah.
I'm vaguely stupid.
they have like food slots that they pull, like they'll go and then they open it up, and it's like this old not Replimat, those old like
Automat?
automats, yeah, like kind of like those things. And the idea is it goes beep 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 beep, beep, and then it opens and you pull the thing out of there.
Oh, this one doesn't
But-
beep. It just condescendingly comments on the nutritional value of your food.
But
A nutritious and balanced breakfast meal. Oh, shut right up, machine.
now, admittedly,
And okay for you. Eat recycled food, baby.
admittedly, the original series is one of the series I actually have the least amount of experience with.
I've seen a bit
So
of the
maybe I'm
animated
wrong. I could be
series for
wrong.
it, and I've seen the movies. That is my
Yeah.
experience with the
But
original crew.
My understanding has always been proper full-blown replicator technology wasn't really used until the TNG era.
Okay, to me, it was a replicator, and that could just me being wrong. It
Yeah,
genuinely
so-
could just me being wrong.
I could also be slightly off on this myself, so that's a nebulous area. But
People in the comments, correct us. It's the internet. That's your job.
I'll have to go back and look again at the whole spore drive thing and kind of mince that over in my head a little more to see what I think of it.
The next
But-
episode has a lot more about how that actually works and what the
Okay.
hell they're doing with it.
Yeah.
Like that's really just the bare bones introduction to the concept of what their ship does. And it's the idea of hyperfast transit, like faster than warp, which is, to
Yeah.
my understanding, why a lot of people were pissed off at the concept of a spore drive. But at the same time, it's like, well, okay, if you come up with a great technology, but for whatever reason it becomes unfeasible or is unable to be mass produced, that's fine. That's not a plot hole.
Well,
That's
it's not the first. It's not the first time Trek has come up with travel that is faster than warp. in a variety of things where it's used in single.
Well, like
instance or-
the wormhole to the fucking Delta Quadrant, for instance. That's
Gamma.
way Gamma. Sorry, no, it's in the Delta, isn't it?
No, Alpha to Gamma. The Dominion is in the Gamma quadrant.
I thought Bajor was in a different quadrant than us.
No,
So are we
Bajor
in
is
Alpha?
Yeah, Bajor is in the Alpha quadrant.
I thought they were on the other end of Federation space from us.
By us, you mean Earth?
Yeah.
No, Earth is basically in the middle of the Federation.
Oh, my mistake.
Bajor is on the frontier by the border with the Cardassians.
Okay, my mistake.
Yeah, no. Technically, depending on what maps you look at, going by the standard, this kind of the standard map that's generally used, Earth lies on the line between the Alpha and Beta quadrants, and the Federation straddles the line.
Okay.
It's generally like they always refer to the Alpha quadrant, like in DS9, it's protecting the Alpha quadrant and all that, even though on the map it's like the Klingons and the Romulans are entirely in the Beta quadrant. It's just weird. Maps in Star Trek are always weird.
I'd also like to point out objects in space. We're going to be looking at it from a two-dimensional perspective, and that's just not how things are positioned.
If you maps in Star Trek are
we're looking at 4 coordinates. We need minimally 6 for this to actually make sense.
Even with that, maps in Star Trek are something you can't look too closely at, or it just all falls apart.
Welcome to me trying to figure out the Gundam colony map structure.
Like if you follow logic, like what they actually say, in DS9, then the Federation borders the Klingons, the Romulans, and the Cardassians. The Cardassians border the Federation, the Romulans, and the Klingons, and the.
Well, presumably, aren't they also
the
bordering
Cardassians-
Bajoran space? I thought they were like neighbors.
The Cardassians and the Bajorans.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then at the same time.
Sorry, just Bajor is
has
a solid point of reference for me. So
the Dominion crosses the Cardassian border into the Romulan, cuts through the corner of Romulan space to get into Federation space. If you look at the standard maps of Star Trek, even if you go 3-dimensional, none of that makes sense whatsoever. But some of it makes sense. Not a lot of it doesn't make sense. But yeah, that's just one of those things you just kind of have to realize they weren't thinking when they
did it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, okay, it's one of those things. Like, there's no way Roddenberry could have seen that his little show about hippies in space was going to spawn a multi-generational, multinational franchise. Like, everybody loves Trek.
Well, yeah.
Trek is one of those few properties from the U.S. that is equally popular outside of the U.S.
Well, also,
there's a number of things that make the rounds and get like limited success in various markets. Star Trek, everybody likes Trek.
Well, also, nerds just didn't micromanage shit like that back in the day. It just wasn't a thing yet. You know.
Well, I'd also like to point out, like, I'd also like to point out, like, the original Star Trek, if you want to talk actual brass tacks about the history of broadcast television, broadcast television starts in the black and white era, which could be defined as its literal infancy, like, straight out the womb, it's not walking, it's not talking, it's not teething. Just, it exists. That jump to color TV and long narrative programs like that is literally the infancy of television taking its first steps. Nobody knows what a baby's going to grow into.
Yeah, no, but like I know, like on the original series, the star dates don't line up.
I've heard that, but that also seems like something that like should never be a huge issue to begin with.
Well, but the issue is later on when they came up with the newer shows, once all the nerds had started nerding, they started making the star dates do line up. So it's like, okay, well, how do we explain this back in the day?
Once we were able to have discussions from the comfort of our own home about how much we hated Wesley Crusher, that was the beginning of the end. That's what I'm hearing.
Or like how in Star Trek V they make it to the galactic the barrier at the center of the galaxy, where by those standards Voyager should have been home in a week. So they came up with this whole idea of like warp highways that existed at certain points in time where you could go faster, and then they didn't exist at certain points in time or whatever. So Just
See,
to
like,
try
this
to
is-
bend the rules.
Like,
to
as much
fit
as
the
people
narrative.
complain about inconsistencies in sci-fi, you realize the second half of this is fiction, motherfuckers. Part of it has to be nonsense, magical bullshit. Otherwise, where's the fun? Oh, he has a gun, but it shoots lasers instead of bullets. Oh, where's your fucking trophy?
Well, see, the thing about Star Trek's canon is it hit like there's kind of a butter zone where up to a certain point you can have inconsistencies and people generally aren't going to give a shit because they're so minor. Then you get to the point where
this actually feeds your point directly off of what you just said. I'm sorry, but it's my ADHD.
Yeah.
You know how my dad went to Michigan Tech for engineering, right?
Okay.
Big time nerd school in the UP.
Mm-hmm.
So back in the day, this was like before like they had home recording technology. So guys would like set up like actual watch parties to watch Star Trek when it was on in like the comm rooms at the dorms up there. And my dad tells stories about these comm rooms packed with like 15, 20 guys just sitting there watching Star Trek. And all of these are engineering students, very smart, mathematically minded people, just tearing the show to shit. Like, none of that could ever function. That has to be made of styrofoam to be able to hold its own weight. Like, there's no way that's a structure. Like, just all these things that are just, to me, is pants-shittingly hilarious because that's how I engage with content. It's just like, wow. 30 years ago, I could have had a whole room of assholes to do this with? Like, what the? I missed out. Damn. But, like, no, speaking to inconsistencies, like, that's always been a part of it. And, like, there's a fair portion of the fan base that is like me and just wants to look at it and be like, the fuck?
Well, like I said, there's this kind of zone where below that number, your average person, even hardcore nerds, are going to let it slide. Then you get into this butter zone where it really pisses people off. Then you get to the other end where, and Star Trek's canon is like this, where it's so broke, it just becomes, it's so broke beyond the point of repair where it no longer bothers people that much anymore because it's already beyond the point of no return.
Suddenly it's the British Parliament. I'm proud of myself for that. I want you to know this.
But yeah, I mean,
would you prefer me to say Congress? That works too.
Well, and that is somewhat of an exaggeration. Like later Star Trek, they do try to hold the existing canon. Once they lay something out where the pieces do fit, they try to build off of it. They don't.
In the things I've seen, and
say,
I would
fuck it.
And I would argue that I've seen half of extant Trek.
Yeah.
I would argue I've seen half of it.
That makes sense based on what you told me.
And I've probably watched more than half, but in terms of what's actually stuck with me, what I actually have a command level knowledge of, half. I have never, in any of my experiences, had an episode or a movie or a new series, anything, bring something up that just broke the reality for me, ever. Like, ever. Like, the perfect example is, I've seen the last episode of Enterprise. I didn't know it was the last episode when I saw it, but the whole it's a flashback and Riker's on the holodeck.
Yeah, that piece of
and you've said repeatedly that you fucking hate it, that it's almost universally hated and reviled in the community and the fan base. That didn't rub me wrong at all.
Yeah, well.
Because at the time you didn't know that was the end.
Well, even knowing what I know now, that episode still doesn't. It doesn't upset me. It doesn't rock me in any way.
A lot of the big inconsistencies in Trek are things that are not obvious unless you go looking for them, because they're spread out over such a broad, diverse set of material.
It's like when you plane a big section of wood that's got a lot of knots in it. You're going to have divots and holes, but if the overall tabletop looks good, nobody's going to say anything.
Here's an example. The casualty count for the Third World War. If you get it.
I was about to say, to my understanding of that, from the movies primarily, and the little bit of the DS9 flashback shit where they go back to the eugenics wars, that was supposed to be something like, what, an 80% death toll, 70, 80%?
Well, for one thing, the eugenics wars are not the Third World War.
No, I know they're not. I know it's a separate thing. The eugenics wars was the 1990s, and the Third World War was, what, the 2040s?
50s.
Okay. I was not far off. I did half.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Although But in terms of numbers, in Star Trek First Contact, they make a reference to I forget the exact number, but several 100 million dead. If you only watch Next Generation stuff, there's nothing wrong with that. If you've seen a specific episode of the original series, and I forget which one of the characters, probably Spock, mentions that in the Third World War there was several tens of millions of dead. Completely different, off by a magnitude of 10.
Well, this is...
He's also half human. He's a human mother.
This is going to speak to my overarching...
He's also a genius.
This is going to speak to my overarching worldview just a little bit. Anytime you start talking casualty counts in anything, unless it's something incredibly localized, like to a single building or a small collection of
they're
them,
hard to pin down.
you will never, ever get an accurate count.
Well,
Like,
I mean,
the numbers I've heard from the deaths in the bombings on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, there's a full decimal place difference in the numbers I've seen. And they're all valid, good numbers.
There are ways to rationalize the difference between those two numbers in that specific case. I was just using that as an example of something where, depending on what portion of the media you watch, you wouldn't notice it. You wouldn't even notice the difference.
I get you. That's just one of those things where I have to play devil's advocate because it's fucking me. Like, it's a case of that might not be an inconsistency. That could literally be a difference of internal sources. Possible.
Yeah, it's not played that way. I mean, in reality, just meta knowledge. No, they just didn't give a shit when they,
Well, again, nobody knew what it was gonna become. Like, honestly, even like if you just went back to when the Next Generation was at the height of its popularity, and someone told you there was gonna be 4 more Star Trek series after this at a minimum, and I'm expecting there to be more as time goes on. Like, I'm just saying, like, it's what we're at. Like, if you said that to like the crew of Star Trek: The Next Generation, do you think any of them would have believed you?
Well, if you're talking about the height of its popularity, they would have just started DS9 as well, so there'd be 2 on already. So that wouldn't be beyond the realm of.
Well, I'd like to point out the history of crossover shows in television up to that point, and Star Trek shatters this a little bit because there's a 2.5 season overlap, I do believe.
Something like that. There's an overlap between Next Generation and DS9, and an overlap between DS9 and Voyager.
Yeah, but in any case, like the way spin-off shows like that used to work back in the day, it's because you were trying to end production on one because it was getting way too expensive to keep paying these people and give them guaranteed contractual raises to keep them on board.
Yeah.
Like,
I know it's a more modern.
The fact that Trek never killed anything off like prematurely.
Enterprise.
Enterprise is the argument, and I will agree. I liked Enterprise.
Enterprise's problem is, there's a number of
Tucker.
issues. Well, I meant behind the camera
Monkeys
stuff.
in outer space.
I mean,
defending the freedom of the human race.
I want to say like the first couple seasons weren't that good, but generally speaking, the first couple seasons of any Star Trek series are never anywhere near as good.
Dude, like the first 2 seasons of Next Generation are dog shit, and I don't care what anyone says. The first season of DS9 is garbage.
I would disagree with that statement. There's stuff in the first season of DS9 I like.
By season 2, they are hitting the ground running every single episode, and I will give DS9 that much credit. But the establishing shit for the station, the cultures, so like the majority of season 1 is an exposition dump. That said, that allowed them to do a fuck ton in the remainder of the series. Like, I'm not disagreeing with it as a methodology. I'm saying as someone who
is weaker.
Consumes
I'll give you that.
A huge amount of media.
I would not refer to it as bad. It is weaker though. You're absolutely right, and that's consistent across the franchises. I think Voyager is weird because Voyager is just kind of. I could
not get into. Like, I've seen like 12 episodes of Voyager, and I just can't get into it. Like, I don't know what it is. Like, every other episode seemed to piss me off. And I'm not even sure what I was mad at. Like,
Voyager,
I was definitely mad at the dude with, like, calico skin who decides to set up and be the ship's cook and is just really fucking annoying.
Voyager tends to be the ugly stepchild. Even, like, I mean...
Say what you meant, redheaded.
Yeah. But... Well, apparently Bill is tired of just standing here watching us. Yeah.
Well, then, in that case, I've been Nick.
I have been and continue to be Alan.
Yeah, check us out on Twitter, YouTube, Stitcher, Spotify, Informed and Confused at all those places. Yeah, like, comment, subscribe, feed the algorithm so we can keep feeding you content.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye.